Hi guys, back to Tigra Gitana. My name is Abby, and today we are going to be talking about the Neptune and Capricorn generation. All my notes are on my computer, they're right here, so I'm going to be looking down a lot, so that's what that is. And I wanted to talk about this because there's basically three major generational planets. I've already talked about Pluto and I've already talked about Uranus. The third one is Neptune. So we're going to talk about Neptune and the energy generational wise of what our impact is. And as you have noticed, we have pretty much almost everything in Capricorn except for Pluto, which is in Scorpio. So that's kind of like a lot of fun energy to play with, but we're going to talk about it because that means Capricorn energy is just has a huge impact on what moving forward tradition is going to look like, because our generation will leave a huge impact on the world moving forward. So let's just get right into it. So Neptune was in Capricorn from roughly 1984 to 1998. So if you were born between these dates, then you have Neptune in Capricorn. So Neptune and Capricorn can clearly see how reality should be, right and wrong, and nourishment. This goes right into that Capricorn energy. And if you look at Neptune energy, which is the planet of illusions, how we see things, beauty, also it connects completely to like spirituality, different religions, how things are done, how things are felt, in many ways how we connect to source, even though that's a little bit also Uranus, but again, we already have Uranus and Capricorn for our generation, so we're basically playing with Capricorn energy in advanced and spiritual energies. So you take Capricorn and you apply it to these areas, like the planets and what their energy is. So Capricorn is a very calculated sign. It can clearly see how reality should be because it is very goal oriented. And so when you look at it as our generation as a generation, and especially if you go back and you look at the Pluto and Scorpio video that I did, a generational video, and also Uranus in Capricorn, if you go back and look at those videos and how they interconnect, I did say that there are friction that happens and struggles that generationally we have, because especially with Uranus and Capricorn, Uranus is pushing us to upgrade, but Capricorn is also very traditional. So the changes that we make need to somehow be foundationally aligned with tradition in some way, where we don't just destroy everything, but we upgrade everything. And the way you can see this is, again, with that Pluto and Scorpio energy helping us being able to see, like there's no blindfold, especially with Neptune in Capricorn, there is no blindfold. Neptune naturally rules Pisces, and because Pisces rules pretty much over the subconscious, and Pisces energy can fall into illusions, and they can do it themselves as well. But Capricorn, it's kind of hard to explain this in a way. Some Capricorn, some people with this placement will fall for illusions, and there will be lessons that come from it. And then others will not fall for illusions. But again, that Pluto and Scorpio placement will allow you to see it. There'll be moments where it'll be so clear, but there'll be choices that would need to be made as far as, are you going to continue to fall for the illusion and allow the illusion to be there? This has to do with religion, this has to do with jobs, politics, etc., how people are treated. This goes back to what I said about right and wrong. Because Capricorn is a traditional sign, and we focus a lot on foundational work, what we put our foundation in needs to look and appear like is the correct thing. If it's wrong, then we should not be building a foundation on top of that. So when we see foundations that are wrong, it will be very obvious to us. And this goes into a lot of like hate groups and racism and like systematic racism and the way things are founded. So we'll be able to see the right and wrong foundation of parties, of institutions, of organizations, of like work, of it will be clear. However, you can also, I want to say that there are some people who will get lost in the sauce even with this Pluto and Scorpio element, because even though this is a generational energy, there's some people that will get lost in their own shadow work and will not allow growth to take place. So they'll have a harder time getting through this energy because it's almost like they're resisting it. And that, again, that has to do with shadow work and it has to do with their own personal struggles, but it will be affected on a generational level. So if you kind of fall for the lies that the past generation has taught you, and you allow yourself to be convinced that it's the right way, even though you can see that there are problems, like very visibly, like that there are problems, you will have a really hard time getting through that. And it's really simple. Neptune and Capricorn energy, you can see it, but there's an acceptance level that comes with it as well. And then again, Neptune is the subconscious. So it's like basically we all have a voice in the back of our head saying, this is wrong. This is not right. And then you're just allowing it to continue to happen. That's a huge problem. And so a lot of people will struggle with that generational wise, and some won't. It will be definitely a growth. There'll be growth that come from it, and there'll be many transits that will occur in order to shift that Neptune energy into something that is actually progressive. Because Capricorn is also about nourishment. So when you're looking at Neptune and Capricorn energy, Neptune, god of the sea, we're talking about water and earth. One of the things I've always said was that earth signs and water signs make the best couples, and I say this because there's a nourishment that comes from it, and it's very easy to see. You take earth, you add water, you have life, you have creation, you have growth. So there is an opportunity to grow past illusions, past old ways of thinking. There's a revamp of tradition, especially with Uranus and Capricorn, because you can't just get lost in the sauce of oh, only one generational planet is going to be no, we have 3 generational planets, and they're all playing a huge role, and they're all will be this. Think about it, if you live in America, think about it as the how the government is like built on like checking each other. That's pretty much what the 3 generational planets do. You have Pluto and Scorpio, that's always going to be like you see it though, you see the truth though, this is wrong though, but why are they trying to hide that from you? But why shouldn't you try this new way? But why is this taboo? Why does it seem like, I don't get it. Like, that's Pluto and Scorpio is going to be the voice of, there's something else there. There's like other things you should try. Like, why has this been changed? Can we understand this a little bit better? Uranus and Capricorn will demand for you to change your mentality. It will demand for new things. It will demand for just, there's no way. That energy will be so hard to work with. If you work against Uranus and Capricorn, you will have a hard time figuring out how to move forward in life and in thought and in society and like in relation to other people. And then with Neptune and Capricorn, you have this ability to again connect that Pluto Scorpio energy into seeing and being able to say, well, this is what I see, this is what's wrong, this is what the truth is. On a subconscious level, Capricorn, because it's cardinal, it will try to address these issues. And so it needs to be able to have a healthy subconscious on a generational level and on a just solo level. But it needs to be able to have a healthy subconscious. And if our subconscious is always taunting us, saying that was wrong, and you have Pluto Scorpio like that was wrong, and Neptune and Capricorn saying that could have been done different, that could have been done better, that's a huge problem. And there's people that are going to struggle with this because a lot of people resist it. A lot of people resist the energy. A lot of people don't understand why they feel certain things. Just gotta look at the planets, man. So that's the first bullet point. The next one, I said, can base reality on foundational thinking. This is important because, like I talked about, Capricorn energy, in order to progress, needs to build and understand what they're building on. It needs to be a solid thing. It's like getting married. You want to make sure you love your partner. You're getting into a relationship for what you're getting into it. And you already know you have that foundation to then move forward and grow into other levels. That's what that can base reality and foundational thinking. It's very much because we're able to clearly see right and wrong. If we allow it, then we can move from it. Because again, it's not, even though Neptune rules the subconscious and is able to just kind of float there and always kind of linger, there's a lingering aspect to it, Capricorn energy will always make us do something about it. So when we emotionally feel like we are wrong, or society's wrong on a certain level, or there's something that's not right, we will be called to act upon that, or support those who are moving into acting upon that. Because it's not always, all of us aren't going to be politicians. This is not how it's going to work. But we'll be called to do the right thing. There will be a lot of times where we'll be called to do the right thing, and that Saturnian Capricorn thing, that karma, will be given to it, like really harshly in the times that we ignore it. The next one is organization drive can easily see illusions, what we talked about. This comes from, again, foundational work. Capricorns can easily see illusions because they need to, if they need to build something, they need to know the whole contract. They're not gonna sign something unless they know. It's kind of like that thing, even though everybody signs stuff without knowing. But I mean it in the way of, I want to know exactly how I'm going to get up there. I want to know exactly how I'm going to climb this mountain. I want to know exactly what this law is going to say. I want to know exactly how that's going to affect me, how that's going to affect other people. It's in that way. There's a knowing. There's a knowing to the little details that everybody kind of want to make it into an illusion and make you think it's better than what it is, but it's not. So that's what I mean by that. Let me see. I wrote cardinal illusions, illusions that make you do or feel something. So again, when you, it's definitely like a trigger, because you have that forward movement cardinal energy. So when there is that energy of, oh, this is an issue, I feel something about it, that's that subconscious letting you know when something's right or wrong. That's what that plays into. The next one is spiritual illusions will have impact on self-development in relation to society. I wanted to talk about this because Neptune, again, really connects to religion, spirituality, and because Capricorn is well known as a very traditional sign, a lot of people love to kind of make it seem like we just want to stay stuck in 1929 all the time. Like, that's not the case. Capricorn's traditional, but we like to make things into traditions. What we like to make into traditions is not always a negative thing. Just because we have, for example, if you look at traditional things, like we have the light bulb, we have light. We have light as a society. In the cities, we have light. Everybody can just, flick a switch and we have light, right? And that is seen now as traditional because historically speaking, you have this movement of, okay, this is new behaviors that society then can adapt into it being traditional. Like, everybody does it. This is a norm. And that's what Capricorn likes to have. We like to have norms. We like to have things that we can always go back to, that we know we go into a room, we flick that switch, and the light's gonna turn on. That's the element of tradition that we rule over, not just we're going to stay stuck in 1886. That's not how it works. A lot of people really have that misconception about Capricorns, and it's actually really annoying. As a Capricorn, it's just really annoying. When it comes to breaking down spiritual illusions, and I want to talk about this because there is an element to Capricorns that is traditional when it comes to religions, when it comes to spirituality. But because Neptune is in Capricorn as a generational energy, and because you have Pluto in Scorpio as a generational energy, and because you have Uranus in Capricorn as a generational energy, you have progressive energy. Even though Pluto in Scorpio is fixed, Scorpio energy, as I talked about in my Scorpio video, will always seek and will always have curiosity to that which is different, that which is hidden, that which is the truth, that which is society kind of hides from you because of this, whatever they think tradition is. And again, Capricorn energy will always seek to also bring something new into the traditional era. Like, you know how people say, oh, come up with a daily routine, daily spiritual routine, do your daily like your daily thing that you do every morning. You wake up, you brush your teeth, whatever. That's very Capricornian traditional behavior. Quite simply, that is a tradition that you carry every day. And so when you have Capricorn energy, a lot of people trying to make it seem like it's a fixed sign. It's still a cardinal sign. It will make it so on a generational level, and this is actually happening, so it's kind of funny. On a generational level, we will be seeking other ways of spirituality other than just classic religion and whatever that is to you. There's going to be a curiosity of, okay, why is meditation, like, if that's not what you've been doing all your life, why is meditation, why should I be meditating, what should I try it, let me try it, let me see how I feel about it. There will be a different connection and adding new tools to our routines that will make us more spiritual and will become a more traditional way of being spiritual. So like meditating every morning, or drinking a glass of lemon water every morning, or doing yoga every morning, or doing yoga every 2 days, or whatever that is. That daily routine in itself is a building and a change in spirituality that has not been done before in any other generation. And there's a study that came out that basically said that millennials I laugh because I think it's funny that millennials basically are not going to church anymore, and we're just seeking spirituality and like different forms of it and trying to understand. And this is one of the things that I kind of love about it, because of the fact that we are sitting on a cardinal sign in Neptune on a generational level. We will be able to connect, because again, Capricorn rules Earth. We will be able to connect to other areas of spirituality from other lifetimes, from our ancestors. There will be literally root work that's being done, not in just in the sense of magic, but in the sense of where do we come from, what do my ancestors believe in, and there'll be a curiosity that comes from that as well. That's very important. You should learn about this stuff. You just should. Like, I found out a lot of stuff when I actually did my DNA test. I loved it, and I found out certain things of certain areas of where I was from. And it's interesting because there's so many areas for me to explore, and now I can see what my ancestors believed in, and I can kind of explore why they believe those things. And there's certain things that you can always take from something and from your own history that you can apply to today that could help you. You never know. And that's exactly what we're kind of going to be doing. We're going to transform the traditional way of looking at spirituality, looking at what religion is, and instead of it being religion, it will be more open in actually being spiritual, versus it being, we have to be at church every Sunday and we need to pray every morning, we need to kneel down, we need to thank God before we eat, before every meal, like stuff like that. Like, my tradition, as far as eat, like my new tradition before I eat, is to Reiki my food. Like, I'm serious. I Reiki my food now. I don't, there is no thank you. No, I don't do that. I just like Reiki and then eat. There'll be new levels of understanding energy when you have this Neptune and Capricorn placement, and it's a very beautiful placement. It takes a little bit of the friction away from having that Uranus and Capricorn, but Uranus and Capricorn again will push you into updating these things. It's like, wait, why are you still going to church every Sunday? But why are you still? What are we doing here? How is that upgraded? You know, like there are just questions. Like the planets pretty much ask you questions, and then you have to like act on answering them. The next thing I wrote was traditional spirituality, looking at other forms of spiritual healing other than what we are taught, which is what I just spoke about. The next one is Capricorn energy of forward movement while keeping tradition. So again, it's creating new traditions. It's not just, we're not in 1888. So obviously things need to be done different. The Pluto and Scorpio energy will kind of keep us, that, like, 'cause that fixed energy is still there, even though it will bring in that transformational energy of, okay, we've been doing this for a while, this is how I was raised in, but Pluto and Scorpio as a generational energy will allow us to kind of open up and allow us to learn new things and allow us to embrace new things. Again, there's going to be some people who struggle with this. It's a generational energy, so some people will be stuck in the shadow side of all this energy. Some people will be moving towards it, and the planets will create their own aspects in order to, in transits, just in order to push us and show us and connect us to people and experiences that will unlock these areas as well. The last one that I put was going back to source. And I wanted to talk about this because, again, when you're ruling over the subconscious mind, and then when you're allowing and you're opening up to yourself to learn about not just what you've been taught, but other ways of how your ancestors have been taught, how others do things, how people are happy, how people are enjoying their lives, how they eat, what's good, what's not good, new ways of addressing old problems. And by accessing and doing this kind of grounding earth root work, like going back to the earth, going down, working again with your ancestors, and looking at what your foundation is, not just from a visual perspective, but from this is where I come from. Why don't I know more about it? What am I doing? Like, not just from what you've been taught that doesn't quite satisfy your spiritual self, but what you need to kind of allow to understand, to learn, to get excited about, I don't know about you, but I mean, I have a Gemini moon, but I don't know about you, but I really love learning something new and like expanding. It's not always about like, oh my god, I already know everything about oneself. Like, I love learning. I love understanding something different and how that connects, and these things will then come as a form of synchronicities, and it'll be easier to connect to source, because instead of your foundation being rooted on materialistic things necessarily, you can then connect your physical form and your spiritual form to source. So, and there'll be different ways of doing that, and that's important. So I hope that you guys found this useful. Let me know if you guys have any questions. You guys can always email me on my website. And yeah, let me know anything, any comments or anything like that. All my links and stuff will be down below. I will see you guys in the next video. And yeah, bye. Stay blessed.